man can't spend $75 or $100 on a first...
What? Wait a second. If I'm doing this math right, she wants me to spend $100 on the first date. Do you know how much that is? That's 4 large Mountain Dew Baja Blasts, 12 crunchy tacos, 2 nacho cheese Doritos Locos tacos, 4 Mexican pizzas, 2 cinnamon twists, 2 grilled cheese burritos, 3 cheese chicken flatbread melts, 2 Doritos Cheesy Gordita Crunch nacho cheeses, 1 stacker, and a black bean Crunch Wrap Supreme. How much Taco Bell do you plan on eating on this first date? Also, I probably should adjust this and add another stacker and another black bean Crunch Wrap Supreme. I don't want to go looking cheap.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network, a fine network. It's Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. I'm Jay E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Podcast listeners, this is for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Hey
yo. And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. Shout out to the stream team. Hello to all the podcast listeners. Thanks for joining us for the final day of April. We got a lot of games to break down. Got some news a little bit later and tweet of the night. And let's start with Kitchener's finest, Jamal Murray, winning it for the Nuggets in the final seconds to end the Lakers' season. Yes, it's a gentleman's sweep in the end, as the Nuggets take care of business in 5, and my God, Jamal Murray, for the second time in this series, hits the game winner.
It was a gentleman's sweep. Some say it was the closest gentleman's sweep ever in the history of the game. This was just super fun all the way to the ending, and not just the game-winning shot. 4 minutes left. Jamal Murray dunked on LeBron James.
Oh, yeah.
And he did the LeBron flex, the shoulder flex. He knew who he dunked on, and that was the night after Kevin Durant sort of got dunked on by Anthony Edwards. He did. As you said, this is Steph, LeBron, and KD ending pretty early, getting old sucks. And we'll talk about LeBron and if he's going to stay in LA. But after that, you had a Reeves shot, then a Murray shot, then a Reeves shot who had a pretty good fourth quarter, and then the Davis block of Jokic, which was called a foul, but it was overturned, which was the right overturn, I thought. And then Reeves hit a 3, then the Jokic offensive board and score, then LeBron drive and score, then Murray a 3, then LeBron 2 free throws before Murray hits that game-winning shot, which was incredible that he was injured coming into this game. He was questionable.
That's right.
Michael Malone didn't know if he was going to play, and he kind of hinted at, if you want to sit, you can sit because we'll get this thing done. But this was big to get other guys rest, like KCP, who's injured, Reggie Jackson, who also is injured. That helps. And then that game-winning shot, this is Jamal Murray. His best game, the last game of the series. Yeah. Classic Jamal.
Classic it is Jamal. For everybody on YouTube, showing you Jamal getting to his spot. Rui, you got to help at the nail, my man. Even Torian Prince was trying to push him over. He's like, he's going that way. Go up and step up. But Jamal hits it, and then, they had to heave it because they didn't have any timeouts left. Trey Kirby, to advance the ball.
They didn't.
No.
Should they have not overturned that call?
Right.
I mean, Jokic goes to the line to shoot 2 free throws. That's the problem there. But if I'm not mistaken, the Lakers, they got the possession back, didn't score. Yeah. Would have been nice to have a timeout.
Yeah.
Certainly
That's
to set
true.
up a play. 3.6 seconds, you can get a pretty good look. But also, you probably would have been down by 4 at that point because Jokic would have likely made at least one of the free throws, probably 2. But he didn't have a great game. He threw several full court outlet passes to nobody. That was weird to see. Ton of turnovers, but man, Jamal Murray strapped on the brown shoes and said, I am ready to go. You don't want me to play? I want me to play. And he came out and he tested it right away, right? Yeah. 4 for 9 from the field in the first quarter. Had some step back shots that he likes to get, and then had some where he was going to the hoop as well. That really felt at the beginning ooh, he's not moving that well. But then he hit that little baseline jumper off the bad leg at the end of the second quarter. You're like, okay, it's on and popping here. Nuggets, I don't feel like they played great at all in this series, and they still took down the Lakers in 5 games. The health is definitely becoming an issue with Murray's calf and KCP picking up an injury here. And he was limping around, but really gave the Nuggets a boost, I thought, in the second half. And then Michael Porter Jr., man, what a great third quarter for him. 4 for 5 from the field, 12 points. His only mistake, I think, was when he threw an alley-oop to Aaron Gordon. He threw it 80 feet high, something like that.
Still too high.
Yeah, not his strength, the lob, but still fun to see. To beat the Nuggets, you got to play basically perfectly in the fourth quarter, and the Lakers didn't do it, giving up those 2 offensive rebounds late. Those were backbreakers to me. Jokic had a putback with 1:46 left, and then the Aaron Gordon offensive rebound, 13. He resets, finds Jamal Murray. I thought Murray was going to miss the 3 because he hesitated.
Yeah.
Sets his feet. Of course, he knocked it down because he's good.
I thought that was a monster offensive rebound. Yeah, you said it, like 75 seconds left. They get the stop. There's the stop. Just get the ball. That was LeBron under there. And Aaron Gordon, he reached back with his right hand, tipped it to his left, obviously caught it, and then, kicked it out to Jamal Murray, who thought about it for a second. He's like, I'm going to let it go. Hit that. That put them up 2. LeBron then got to the line. You're right, Tass. I mean, it was buckets being traded back and forth here. But I thought that was a huge play from AG. And that's the thing. Throughout the series, it's like Jamal had his moments. Like, Jokic is the steady hand. Like, you said Jokic had a bad game. What's the line the guy had in this one?
25, 20, and 9. Bad game.
I agree with you.
Beef, but not a triple-double.
I agree with you. He had a bad game. A lot of turnovers.
7.
It wasn't his best. But, he's the steady hand. But then you have Jamal Murray with his moments. Michael Porter Jr. with his moments. Aaron Gordon's had his moments in this series. Like, KCP, it's just like, this is what makes them the defending champs so difficult to beat them 4 times out of 7. Like, good luck to now the Wolves get a chance out. I can't wait for that series. But, man, Jamal, just get, like... Guy's ice cold, man. It is wild. All you're seeing is like, this guy's never been an all-star. He's never even sniffed an all-NBA team. And he just has all these playoff moments under his belt, still being fairly young. And, of course, a championship, too. And more to come, maybe.
Yeah, 32 points in this one. Clearly his best game of the series so far. He's been off shooting the ball, but then at the end of games, obviously, game 2, a game winner. And then this one, another game winner. So it doesn't matter if he has 3 bad quarters. Give him the ball at the end of the game, along with Jokic, who he plays off of, and they're going to hit game-winning shots. And I couldn't believe when I read that the entire league, this guy, Jamal Murray, the 4th player since 97 when they started tracking this play-by-plays, with multiple go-ahead shots in the final 5 seconds of a game in the same postseason. Only guy to do it twice in the same series. LeBron, Hedo Turkoglu, and Robert Horry, the other ones.
Right. Those guys doing it in the same postseason.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray doing it in the same series. And maybe we'll add another or 2 in the next game, in the next series, against the Wolves. Yeah.
I can't believe Hedo came up. But
Yeah.
I guess he had a good playoffs.
2009.
When they went to the finals.
Yeah, that's right. Robert Horry, that makes sense. LeBron, always include him in these type of things. Ball. Hedo Turkoglu is the wild card there, and Jamal Murray now. That is nuts. When you look at all these games these two teams played, though, it usually did come down sort of to the clutch. Even if you go back to the 2023 Western Conference Finals, they played 11 clutch minutes in that series. Denver won it by 15 points. In the regular season, they played 7 clutch minutes in all their games. Denver won those minutes by 17 points in 7 minutes. And then in this series, there were 9 clutch minutes in the series, a lot of them come in last night. Now, Denver only won those by 3 points, so the Lakers did a better job, but they won all 3 games where it obviously was in the clutch there because just for coming through with big shots, and usually it's the 2-man game, like you said. Jokic and Murray, I can't wait to see the matchups here in Wolves versus Nuggets here. I know we can save that for later in the week, but I don't know. I'm getting pumped about like who's on who here and who can stop who, and like there's a really good team. So
Saturday, it's Saturday. 4 days rest for the Nuggets, which is nice for Jamal. He can take that bandage he had off in pregame, but they don't get here without Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon was great, but Michael Porter Jr. was even better. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. was awesome in this series. In this game, he played 46 minutes and was a plus 12 in a 2-point win. That's huge.
Do you remember when like we were like, this is years ago now, but like, can't play this guy.
No, he's gotten
Mike
better.
Malone doesn't trust him. Like he's just like he gives up everything on the defensive end. That's like not even a conversation anymore.
No, he's steady now. This is the best series of his career. There's no doubt. I don't think they win this in 5 games without him. I don't know if they win it without him. I mean, he is one of the guys that shot well from 3. There aren't many of them. Right. Jokic was that guy, and along with Michael Porter Jr., who shoots a heck of a lot more of them. 20 made threes in these 5 games, 49% from 3. He was awesome. Yeah, you could just rely on him, which you didn't think you could. He's just gotten better. We're not talking about Jonte Porter here. We're talking about Michael Porter Jr. He's just the best version of himself.
He hits the overs, is what you're saying. Sorry, too soon. LeBron storming off the floor. Not storming off, but obviously making his way off the court. No time for daps and handshakes or anything. He wants to get back to his family. He was talking about in the post-game press conference. So now we look at the Lakers here and look at their season and them coming up short in the first round and once again losing to the Nuggets and where they go from here and whether it even involves LeBron James. Do you think he's played his last game in the purple and gold?
I think Kerry Champion's friend thinks so.
That's what I
saw that on Twitter yesterday. I don't know. LeBron didn't threaten to retire this time.
That's true.
Which is good, I guess. I don't know. I guess he's looking for a gigantic contract, 3 years, $160 million or thereabouts. The guy will be 40 in December. Had an incredibly healthy season. Got another incredibly healthy season from Anthony Davis, and they finished in the play-in tournament. Again, They just keep finishing in the play-in tournament. But the Lakers, I can't see just being like, all right, see you later, LeBron. If he wants to come back, he'll be back. Darvin Ham, no, no, he won't. I wonder if we find out today, but he will be gone.
Oh, okay, yeah, 2 seasons there with the Lakers. There's the report up on The Athletic. I mean, as soon as they lose, it goes up there. They're ready. They're pressing it about, it's like explaining the fallout, really, or maybe the mistakes Ham made, or the hand he was dealt at times too. Do you believe Darvin Ham probably coached his last game for LA?
I don't know for sure. I think they have a lot of things that have to do with the roster. I think that's the thing that they're thinking about first and foremost. And they can trade a bunch of things come draft day, right before LeBron decides, I've got a player option. Like days before, he has to make the decision if I'm going to take that $50 million player option for next season, or if he gets signed to a 3-year extension, which would make him really old when it comes to basketball world. But he would be playing into his 24th season if he signs that 3-year extension, which would be an NBA record that Vince Carter currently holds at 22. So it looks like LeBron's going to pass that, I guess. But they just have to get better. And the Trae Young rumors, I think those are hot, and I think there's some juice behind those because of what's going on with the Atlanta Hawks. They're already over the luxury tax already now for next season, so they may want to make a deal. Like, yes, we talk about the Lakers being this play-in tournament team. The Hawks are worse, so they may want to make a move. So I think that's probably first and foremost. I know the Darvin talk is hot. But also the injuries, have played an effect. But anyway.
But they did and they didn't, right? The injuries to their role players did.
Yeah.
But not to their main guys. I mean, LeBron had a healthy season. AD had the healthiest season we've ever seen. Reeves played a lot. Mm-hmm. They're main guys. I mean, I just think that to me gets into a bit of a weak excuse. Where it's like, I know you talked about Gabe Vincent a lot. Fair enough. They brought him in for a reason. They thought they were going to get some steady point guard play. But, their main guys were healthy.
Yes.
And they still finished in the play-in. It's a talented, loaded West. I mean, that's one part of the issue. Yeah. And they put all their eggs in the in-season tournament basket. They are champions.
They are walking home with the title.
That's right.
Nice.
That's right. And then they fell apart after that, remember? Look, in the
they're
Athletic
a 47-win
report,
team. Should they have been better, is what you're saying? That's what Darvin should have done?
That's what all the Lakers seem to think.
Yeah. There was a lot of Taurean Prince starting.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
There was a lot of head scratching on some of the rotations. In the report from The Athletic, encourage you to go check it out. Quote, throughout the series and most of the season, team officials and players believe Ham's fluctuating rotations, game plans, and lack of adjustments led to an underperforming group. It created discontent within the locker room, which became palpable across the franchise. That's a small part of a very long article of Ham's maybe shortcomings. And TK, you'd sound like, or you said, you don't think he'll be there. He'll be the fall guy here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, how long did it take for that article to come out talking about decisions she made when the Lakers had to bring themselves back against the Clippers? Right. They're like, we were making the calls. The Lakers players were, not Darvin Ham. Didn't make sense to go to the Western Conference Finals last year, come back this season and go with a different starting lineup. Didn't make sense at all to do that.
Because they talked about continuity the whole time. That was the whole thing.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Tass is right. They do need to make some roster changes because, Skeets, I'm with you. The injuries to Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, they're not helping. Those guys being out, you don't get to build the continuity that you want. But also, those guys aren't changing the world for you. No. They were available for reasons, Jared Vanderbilt didn't even play in the playoffs. I think he was supposed to be available for last night's game, right?
That's what they said.
Nonetheless, after a bunch of these games, you heard different players talking, Rui Hachimura among them, saying, we don't have the experience. We haven't played enough games together. The Nuggets have played 1,000 games together. We've played 100. And now they're going to completely flip the rest of the roster outside of LeBron and AD. Right. So guess what you're doing again next year?
Right. And it'll be up to possibly a new coach to see if he can make it work. Wow. JJ, you think he'll get an interview? He probably will if he wants. We'll see. So you don't think it'll be long here?
No
until
way.
Darvin Ham is...
Why would you keep him?
Can't
Ham.
Exactly.
The Lakers said they kept receipts about the Nuggets this season, and then they went 1-8 against them.
Yeah. You think his chance he's there?
I mean, it's slim, but yeah, I do think there's a chance. Yeah. The articles that show what happened throughout the season that come out right after aren't necessarily what's going to happen.
No, true.
But they obviously had a bad season. And they did have issues. Taurean Prince was much better off the bench. And the whole Rui Hachimura was a starter in the playoffs last year, but he came into this year coming off the bench. Then he did get injured, and they didn't figure it out that he should have been their number 3 guy to go with Reeves, and they need another guard, which would help. And Gabe was hurt, and Vanderbilt was hurt. But yeah, there's some discomfort. The same article came out, frankly, about Frank Vogel right away.
Yeah.
Swap spots.
The only difference, Ham's been there 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? Vogel won. Obviously had him. They got to the conference finals last year. There was that too. And that was the thing. They're building off that. They make all these signings. They believed. I mean, in that article, it's like, now they maybe were naive, but they're like, they believed they had a better team than a first round exit team. Right? No matter who they were playing. But we'll see. Yeah, maybe it won't be long. Maybe it happens during the show or later this week. And maybe Taz is right. I don't know. It feels unlikely to me. Especially if LeBron is sticking around. That Ham will still be there and given another opportunity. Now, those are I'm not saying he's solely to blame. I think a lot of the roster construction is perplexing, but those are two different questions. Is he solely to blame, or is he also going to be gone? He's probably going to be gone. That's what they're going to have to do. That's what they're going to do. Let's move on, though, unless there's anything else from that game. Can I ask you, did you wear a brown shirt because of Jamal Murray's brown shoes, like TK mentioned?
Yes.
Yeah.
New Balance. I balance every day with the person's shoes that hit the game-winning shot, for sure. Yeah, those are nice. I'm okay with them. I know I'm not.
I would be ashamed of myself if I'm LeBron James. I get dunked on by Jamal Murray, and I look down and he's wearing trail running shoes.
They look like trail running shoes. I will say this about New Balance.
It's pretty amazing.
I was never a New Balance basketball shoe fan. No. But they've come a long way.
That's true.
And he picks brown, I guess, because it matches their uniform color, sort of, like their color scheme. They got brown. They're mountains.
They don't really. There's no brown in their.
There's no brown in their schemes.
Mountains are brown, if it's what you're saying. Well, they can be.
They've got some brown. They have brown and blue and gold, and nobody else wears brown shoes.
That's true.
He's the only one.
Signature look.
I mean, there's a lot of colorways for those crazy James Harden shoes.
Yeah.
Let's see those in brown when he's hitting all those floaters. Synergy.
Synergy.
Let's move on to another team that will move on to the second round. The Thunder Roll. There it is. Let's get it out of the way. Jalen Williams, SGA doing his part, leading OKC to the 97-89 Game 4 victory, sweeping the Pelicans. Honestly, just bottling up this team over 4 games. The Pelicans scored 92 points, 85 points, and 89 points in the year 2024. That's pretty impressive defense. But TK, get us started. Thoughts on this game or OKC moving on, or where the Pelicans go from here?
It's nice to have you a Jalen Williams, isn't it?
Yeah.
This guy was incredible in the fourth quarter. Shea rolled his ankle at the end of the first quarter. He takes a 3 in front of, I think it was the Thunder bench. He kind of takes a step back, lands on somebody's foot who's just sitting there, rolls it. A little gimpy playing throughout the rest of the game. So he was kind of the decoy at the end, and it was just J-Dub taking him home, making plays defensively, hitting big threes. Josh Giddey hit 3 threes in the fourth quarter. Oklahoma City went on an 18-2 run. New Orleans made 1 shot in 6 minutes, and that was kind of the story of the series, really, for New Orleans. 19 turnovers on the night. Lou Dort was inside of Brandon Ingram. And then anytime somebody would have a chance at a layup, Chet Holmgren was there to turn it away. I think the Pelicans shot like 9 for 35 with Chet at the rim.
Yeah.
It looks bad sometimes when like Valanciunas is running him over, but you'll live with that. And Mark Daigneault has talked about that quite a bit. We're going to live with our guys getting pushed around because we'll make it back on the other side. So yeah, great stuff from the Thunder. Their average age, 23 years and 343 days, according to ESPN. that is the youngest team to win a playoff series since the Thunder back in 2011 when they were making pizza rolls.
Even younger now. This was wild from Statitudes, though. Statitudes as well. Players aged 25 years or younger accounted for 99.5% of the Thunder's points versus the Pelicans, the highest such percentage of a playoff series in NBA history. Do you know the only person on the roster to score 2 points in this series that was over the age of 25?
Gordon didn't do it.
No, it wasn't Gordon. It was not good Gord. He was scoreless.
I saw the answer.
Did you? It's a John Schumann favorite, Tass. I'm going to give
right.
Kenrich, yeah.
Kenrich.
That's right.
He's 29. I didn't think he was
It's
that.
old,
I didn't
yeah.
think he was that old, but it's old on this team. But unbelievable. Yeah, youngest team here to move on in a series, and they sweep. And it was mainly because of their defense.
Yeah.
You said that 18-2 run in the fourth quarter. This game was close. I mean, it was pretty ugly, but it was close for a majority of the game. Like, no one could get separation until that 18-2 run. And it started with a turnover. That's how that run started against the Thunder. And here's what I mean. Pelicans were up 5 with 8.5 to go. I think JV had just had a nice score on Chet, sort of, fading baseline. It was a nice basket. So the Thunder come down, and then Jose Alvarado, he, pokes the ball away. I think it was called a block in the box score. It was more of a steal. But they're going because the ball gets kicked to CJ McCollum. It's a 2-on-1. It's McCollum and Najee Marshall, and it's only J-Dub back. But SGA, despite just getting his pocket picked, despite having maybe a bit of a bum ankle, he hustles his ass back, and J-Dub just does an amazing job. He doesn't get a block on the play, but he just makes it very difficult. He deters McCollum's layup. And then SGA, because he didn't give up on anything, he screamed back, got the rebound. They go the other way, and they scored. And then, of course, they got another stop, and then they hit a 3 in transition. That suddenly tied the game. It would have been a 7-point lead, which maybe would have felt huge in this game for the Pelicans. But because those two star guys, J-Dub and SGA, they not only bring it offensively, they actually give a damn about defense. They got back, they stopped it, and then that sort of that was just the roll there. And then J-Dub just kept stepping into threes, throwing up the 3 up on the forehead. So that was just impressive to me, and I know Dagnott talked about it after the game. These guys play defense. They give a damn.
Yeah, they play like old guys, even though they're super duper young. Some of the guys that come off the bench, like Cason Wallace, had a 0 in this game, but his steals mattered a lot, and they play extremely hard, and they know the order of things. I don't have to shoot, even though I freaking can, because Cason Wallace can. They are just set up to win. Even these games that they didn't shoot all that well, they did not. Everybody, other than Jalen Williams, who was awesome in that fourth, he had a beautiful drive and then 2 threes. And the last 3 with 3 minutes left, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was running behind him and smiling from ear to ear.
Big grin.
What was he smiling about? Just Jalen Williams hitting a shot? We're doing this? I don't know. I wanted that to be asked post game.
Why
were you smiling like that? It was just a goofy smile where it landed to Jalen Williams again, who had a monstrous fourth quarter, along with Giddey, who hit 3 threes and was part of the closing lineup. And that's the beauty of this team. And when you start looking at who is this team, are they just these young guys that get thrown out at the end of games? No. You know who your 4 are going to be. You know that your wings are going to be Jalen Williams and Lou Dort. You know your small, who isn't small, is Shea, and your big is Chet Holmgren. But the 5th guy, it could be Giddey when he's awesome like this, when he really made a difference.
He had a good series.
He did. It could be Aaron Wiggins.
Yep.
For sure. It could be Cason Wallace. It could be Jalen Williams. Probably not. The other Jalen Williams. Probably not. But there's just options.
Yeah.
And this team, they won an ugly game. That's what good playoff teams do.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I wonder if Brandon Ingram woke up this morning and had a big sigh of relief that he doesn't have to see Lou Dort again. Doesn't have to go back in the torture chamber for another game. Again, coming in not 100%. I'll give him that, but holy crap. Last night, he missed 12 of 14 shots. He only had 8 points. In the series, Ingram averaged just 14.3 points per game. He shot 19 of 55. He only made 2 3-pointers over the 4 games. Lou Dort was a menace. He was all over him. So he's got to feel at least happy this morning that he doesn't have to see Lou Dort again, at least this postseason.
Pretty bad matchup for Ingram, considering he doesn't have the burst that he could have if he's completely healthy, because he obviously doesn't have the strength to get off Dort. There was that possession late in the game where I guess Ingram is trying to post up on the right block, and Dort just stands him up. Ingram was panicking and just does a backward shot at the rim. It looked really bad. He looked completely out of sorts for basically the entirety of this series, and I wonder if that is the last game we've seen him play as a New Orleans Pelican, because this team has had a really strange run. They've made the play-in tournament the last 3 years. 2 of them, they went out in the first round. The other year, they didn't even make it.
Right.
How many times are you going to keep doing this? You got to have a more reliable guy when Zion is your number one guy. You got to have somebody who can play 75 games a season and actually carry the team when he's out, because Ingram can't do it. CJ McCollum can't do it, even though he was fair last night. That was probably his best game of the series. But things need to change in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah, it's a shame that the best game for teams that don't often advance are the last game, when things are just kind of coming to an end. And CJ McCollum, who they paid a lot for, and David Griffin, I'm sure, is looking up that roster and regretting some things, or looking at it and saying, I got to figure things out, obviously, as you said. And Brandon Ingram, he was shut down by Lou Dort. Shea had a great block on him. Maybe he watched that first TNT game where they said that Derrick White had the most blocks for a guard this season. I was shocked by that. It's totally true, 1.2 blocks. But because I thought it was Shea at 6'6", but he had that big one. But yeah, these guys just play like they're vets. Their post-game interview where they do the barking was even like sort of low-key. They didn't do it. They didn't go after it because they're like, okay, we've done this before. We're vets at dog barking. So they just were chill about it.
They did at least give the interview to the national broadcast last night.
They did.
They all huddled around.
Nick Gallo.
NBA TV. Yeah, they're feeling good, and like maybe SGA was smiling so much because that one really put the game away, and that put the series away, and that means more rest. Despite being young, you're in the playoffs. There's these tweaks of ankles and knees and maybe backs, whatever. The more rest you're going to get here between the next series, gearing up to see whether you're going to play the Clippers or Mavericks. That one feels like it's going to go the distance. It just has a weird vibe about it, right? It feels like it's going 7. That's good for the Thunder.
Yeah.
So they'll be feeling good going into the next
one. That was an 11-point lead when Jalen Williams hit that 3. Didn't feel like an 11-point. I don't know why.
They stretched it out a ton.
It
was close for a while.
Yeah.
Elimination games are hard, and the Pelicans played really hard.
They did.
They just could not make a shot. I think they went 8 for 34 from 3. They shot under 30% from 3 for the season, or for the series here. They just didn't have enough scoring.
Yeah.
How do you like it?
It's going to be tougher for the Thunder in round 2, playing against a veteran team that, who knows what kind of health we're going to be talking about. Luka's limping around. Kawhi Leonard is not playing.
Right.
But they're at least veteran teams.
Yeah. And
Most likely coming in with one of their top guys.
Yeah. And I don't think, look, I'm not going out on a limb. I don't think the Thunder are sweeping the Pelicans here if Zion Williamson is playing. I just don't believe that. He's that important.
Oh, yeah.
He's their point guard, and we saw what he did for a fairly healthy season. It's probably, I would still pick OKC to have won that series, but I bet it's a lot closer, and it's maybe going 6 or 7. In the end, though, no Zion, they win in 4. After, that little game 1 scare where they should have lost, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the end of it. It's a shame. It's a shame for New Orleans. Did you like their floor? I know you don't like brown shoes. Did you like the new black, well, not new, for this series,
before,
for the first time putting...
Skeletons?
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, that's what they're going with.
Yeah, I liked it.
I
think it's a cool look. I also like that they brought Manny Fresh out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I saw you tweeting that.
Didn't work, though.
No.
I think they were like minus 13 after that.
They tried.
Yeah. The Thunder saw that, like, okay, we will get our roll on.
Thank you. Thunder rolls. I'll see your Manny Fresh with Garth Brooks.
Manny Fresh. The halftime show was good as well. The instruments
it's like a horn? A horn group?
Yes. Yeah, that's cool.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
The final game from last night, you sort of slipped it in there. Derrick White. Huge game from Derrick White. 38 points as the Celtics beat the Heat. 102-88 to take game 4. They're up 3-1. Career high 38 from Derrick White. 15 of 26 from the field. 8 3-pointers from this guy. 15 attempts. Letting it rip. And really in a game where nobody could find a rhythm sort of early, especially, it was all Derrick White. He had 16 first quarter points. Now the Celtics take a 3-1 lead. They'll look to close this out a little bit later in the week, but there were some injuries too here for Boston. I don't know if you want to start there. The most notable one, the Kristaps Porzingis injury, where he tweaked something, catching a pass, in the second quarter there, and the team is saying it's right calf tightness. I think Woj was saying early indications are that he didn't sustain an Achilles tendon injury. So that's good, but look, calf injuries have kept guys out. Mm-hmm. We're seeing that right now with Giannis. So could be a huge blow, of course, to the Celtics. Not for this series, but moving forward in their championship aspirations.
To me, this is the biggest thing that happened.
Yeah.
On courts last night. Porzingis going down, and we've had a really bad run for Cavs lately with Giannis and then Porzingis, and then even Murray is dealing with the same thing. A grade 1 strain, 1 to 2 weeks. That's fine. You can live with that if you're the Celtics, but a grade 2 is more like 3 to 6 weeks. And if you're comparing it to like Giannis, that guy hasn't played for 3 weeks. And no return in sight at this point. That being said, Kristaps did say, good W tonight. D. White is special. Thanks for all the support. We'll be good. Flex emoji.
Flex emoji, okay.
He's feeling confident that he'll be back.
Right.
And at the very least, at least the Celtics still have Al Horford, who is still good. Got the start in the second half of this one. Played 20 minutes in the second half. 5 points, 6 rebounds, a couple assists. He does give you the stretch that Porzingis does as a 40% three-point shooter, but he doesn't beat switches quite in the same way that Porzingis does. You're not throwing it to Al Horford in the post anymore these days. 21-4, the Celtics went without Porzingis this season, so they can win without him. And I think they can definitely beat the Cavs or the Magic in the next round without Porzingis. So maybe he gets enough time to rest between the end of this series and that next one.
Yeah, they do have depth, as you said. Al Horford, there was a reason they went and got Xavier Tillman at the trade deadline, just to have guys, to have bodies, along with Luke Cornett. There are guys. And as you said, will be good. In his tweet, I think is a good sign.
Will be good.
He was in a walking boot, but that's, they generally do that.
And they
precautionary.
After he went out, they didn't say he's out. They said he's doubtful to return, which is better than no chance in hell that he's coming back. And actually, he had right calf tightness a little bit earlier. There's something going on with his other leg before that play, a little bit earlier in the game, and then the left one. So it was more like a Porzingis to me, pair of zings to his legs. I thought in both of them. So obviously a bad sign. Then he needed to go sit, and that was fine because that other guy to get a Derrick White game like that, which he had 8 points in 58 seconds in that first quarter. It was just bang, 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 and it was like the game before when obviously he didn't score nearly as much in Game 3, but he had 12 points in a 4-minute stretch. He was just flying. I mean, he was stepping into threes. There was 2 big dunks in the third quarter where he was just flying through the lane. 38 freaking points. To me, I'm having some visions of the NBA Finals to see this guy in the finals. It reminded me of Aaron Gordon leading his team in scoring in Game 4 of the NBA Finals over Jamal and Jokic when he was awesome and he had 27. So these are the things that, like we were talking about the Denver Nuggets, that's what championship teams do. And this guy's obviously in his prime. He's looking great.
And those 2 games in Miami, the Celtics made an effort to take away the three-pointers as much as possible from Miami. They only shot 61 threes in games 3 and 4. I'm putting those 2 games together. It's actually not a lot. And unsurprisingly, these are games where the Heat lose both and are held below 90 points in both as well. So Celtics, after that little scare in Game 2, take care of business in Miami. Game 5, like I said, later this week, they'll try and close it out. There was another injury in this game, maybe not as notable as the Porzingis, but it's Tatum. And I wanted to get your take on this, especially Stan Van Gundy on the call and all the comments he had on this. But we'll show it to you. It's in the fourth quarter. So it's after a foul on the floor there. And Tatum's going to do the thing where he's like, well, I'm going to get up a practice shot. And Bam's like, no, you're not. I'm going to sort of challenge you. And when he does, he steps under Tatum's feet on the contest, and Tatum rolls his ankle. And then we have a lengthy review on this. And this is where Stan Van Gundy's sharing all his thoughts on this. But he is assessed, Bam is, with a flagrant 1. And I guess Horford got a tech within all of this as well. But, okay, on one hand, this was a little ironic that it happened to the Celtics because wasn't Joe Mazzulla's whole thing that we let no practice shots up. We keep playing through, coaches included.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yes, then Bam does this and he gets underneath it. But Stan's like, basically Stan Van Gundy was like, the play's over. Sorry, buddy. Like,
don't take a shot.
Don't take a shot. What did you think of that? I had a lot of people, obviously Celtics fans, quite upset with that. He even said, I'm showing my bias here with how Boston has played here in Miami. But what do you think?
I didn't know you could get a flagrant after the play. That was the first thing to me. I was like, what? That's it's
odd.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
That was just weird that it happened. I guess the Celtics can't get too mad at it because, like you're saying, Joe Mazzulla does it. But man, Stan Van Gundy, what a weird game I thought from this guy. I think he thinks the Heat won. He said he's showing his bias. Why does he have bias for the Heat? He coached for the Heat, or is it more so that he's talking trash to his brother Jeff Van Gundy, who helps out with the Celtics? I don't know.
Ooh, yeah.
But it was very weird, the way he was talking about the Celtics in this game, being up by 20 and talking about how poorly they're playing.
Yeah.
They did give up open looks. The Heat missed a lot of open looks, but Boston was still dominating. I just thought odd stuff from Stan Van Gundy. Players take shots after the whistle all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody ever gets hurt.
I think he's a little pissed being on the call in a blowout, too. You know?
He was saying that the whole first half, he was saying that the Celtics played way better defense in Game 3. And he was kind of criticizing them just not going out to the three-point shooters. So that's why he kept saying they ain't playing as good as they did in Game 3.
Right.
As far as the shot goes after the whistle and all that, the flagrant foul was because Bam was in his landing spot.
Yeah.
And so that's...
But then the counter is like, there's no
Don't
play.
shoot.
It's not a play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
But
the landing
Bam was
spot
allowed to
go
jump.
away? Does the landing spot go away after there is, the whistle is dead? That's the question.
It is weird. When Joe Mazzulla did this earlier in the season, who was it? It was a player. Maybe it was Kevin Durant. It was somebody who said... you could injure a guy. You could literally...
We talked about it on the show. We thought maybe the NBA is going to make a rule that coaches can't close out on shooters because unfortunately someone might get injured.
And Joe Mazzulla said that they were going to make... that they contacted him days later. And he said there is going to be a rule. Now, it hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened. But
and a coach contesting a shot hasn't happened since either. But this also is like a deep three, so Tatum kind of jumps a little forward. If you want to get all frickin' technical.
Yeah, and I don't think Bam was like intentionally trying to hurt Tatum.
No.
He was just like, no, you're not getting up a practice shot, and steps up, and Tatum goes forward, and then tweaked it. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's anything serious from what we've seen. Like, I don't think Tatum's going to miss the next game.
Got like a monster dunk later.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
yeah.
He played.
I guess save it for you got to go KG style. You just got to block it at the rim. A guy shoots a three and knock it out before it goes in.
Right.
I guess.
Watch your hands up on those rims.
Yeah, you can hurt your finger.
Hurt a finger. Catch it there. So anyway, the Celtics can advance to the second round on Wednesday night in Game 5, and the winner of Boston-Miami will take on Cleveland or Orlando in the semifinals, but that's not going to end till at least Friday, so you wonder, sort of like we saw in these other series in the West there, Game 5 was Boston like try and put them away, end it, and maybe get a little bit more rest, especially when you've got KP with his injury and, whatever. A lot of tweaked ankles.
There's a lot of tweaked ankles.
There's a lot of calves.
Over last night.
Ankles, yeah.
Guys were going down like crazy. I mean...
New Balance has got to make some high cuts, some mid cuts. Everybody's wearing low cuts.
Yeah, bring back the Matt Bonner New Balance. Those were very high cut.
They were. This guy never rolled an ankle.
You don't jump. It helps.
True.
You're going to get a great effort from the Heat, I do believe, in Game 5. Closeout games are super hard, and the Heat have played well against the Celtics in the past, but they're just going to have to make more threes because they made 23 in their win, and they've made 30 in the other games in this series.
Right, total. Yeah, wow. All right, that's last night's 3 games. 2 of them done, but we got to find out what happens in Game 5 there between the Celtics and the Heat. Let's play a little Is This News? Why not? It's been a while. I could have just given you the headlines and we could just talk about them. Boring. I want you to tell me whether or not they're actually newsworthy. Play along here in the stream team and podcast listeners. First one from ESPN. Bradley Beal says Suns in different position with better health. Is this news? TK, you got to start it here.
BetterHelp?
Yeah.
BetterHelp.com?
Better health.
Promo code SUNS in 4. Is this news? No, this is not news, I don't think. And Bradley Beal is probably right. The Suns would be better if they had great health from all 3 of their guys on the court. When all 3 of them played, they played at a 52-win pace. That would be 4th in the Western Conference, and that's about where they feel. Somewhere between 4th and 6th. That seems like where the Suns are likely landing. But I also don't know how much better health they're actually going to be able to get. Kevin Durant played 75 games this season. That's his most since 2019. Devin Booker played 68 games this season. That's tied for his most since 2020. Bradley Beal played 53 games. That's not very many.
No.
But it's his most since 2021. Yusuf Nurkic played 76 games. That's his most since 2018. Grayson Allen played 75 games, though, was hurt in the playoffs. Still, 75 games is the most of his career. They actually had great health for their starters. They just happened to not always line up. It always felt like there was one guy out, somebody would come back, the other guy gets hurt. That definitely throws you behind the 8 ball, but this seems like a convenient excuse for a team that just wasn't good enough and not deep enough at all.
Yeah, and last I checked, the big three did play in the postseason against the Wolves, and they weren't good. They weren't good enough.
No.
That's the thing. Those guys, Beal, Booker, Durant, they were a minus 51 when they shared the floor in the 4-game sweep. I mean, we can get into all the role players suck, all the construction, and all it's Vogel's fault, but it's those guys. They got outclassed by Ant and Gobert and obviously Cat at times. Like, those guys, they played better. They did. Now they have a better team, Minnesota, but still, when your big three is not coming through and it's not even close to even there when they're out there, then you're in trouble and you're going to get swept.
Yeah, and this series started poorly. Devin Booker got in foul trouble. They never got into a flow. Maybe they get into a flow if they play 80 games together. I do buy that what Bradley Beal is saying is technically, logically correct. It is correct, but Bradley Beal's health has been a worry, and I was wrong coming into the season. I thought he would just get healthier, and maybe he knows that I do have to be healthier, and that is my job. Literally, this offseason to somehow strengthen his back, which comes up every freaking year. It really does.
Yeah, he came into the season with lower back.
Yeah,
tightness.
That's why he missed so many games.
Right.
And yeah, KD's number is obviously a great number. And yeah, they literally, if they had these games played together and Booker gets into foul trouble in game 1, maybe they somehow, some way can fight that and know that they should be way better like they were in game 4. I mean, game 4 was their best game, their only game where they had a close game in this series. So this team, logically looking at it, obviously it ain't good 4 through 12 or 5 through 12 or whatever. It's not built all that well, but their top 3 is so freaking good. So, looking at the teams that just advanced, like OKC and Minnesota, even Boston, who's going to advance, games played together matters. Those teams are freaking good. Denver, those teams are freaking good.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is the exact opposite. Embiid hurt all season, not in a good spot, not perfect. So, yeah, Beal is right. This is news for him, I guess, because going to the offseason, I think that's what his focus has to be. I am really interested to see what James Jones and Matt Ishbia probably, who has the overhand of everything that happens, is going to do, because as I brought up yesterday, they can't put salaries together to make a big trade. And will they trade one of these monster deals in Durant or Booker, there's rumors that he wants to be a New York Knick, as Stephen A. Smith said. Right. That seems very far-fetched. Or even this Grayson Allen contract, that is something that other teams would want, right? So maybe they go get a defensive, strong-minded guy to be in that starting lineup. Maybe, perhaps, I don't know. But I did enjoy the Bradley Beal interview. It was a funny start to the interview.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because he knows, after game 3, he said, I've never been swept in my life. I'll be damned if that happens. Right. So he sat down. He said, I'll be damned if that happens. Good start.
Yeah,
good start, because you know what? You got swept.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The back tightness he came in with, then he had an ankle sprain, then he had hamstring strain, then he had a broken nose, he had a concussion. Like, he had a season from hell.
He got banged
Bradley Beal, but he had 18 points per game in the regular season for the Suns, and it got worse in the postseason. Like, that went down. Like, he's getting close to not being in the big 3. Like, he's only in the big 3 because of contract. If we're being honest, he didn't play like a guy that's in the big 3. So we'll see. Maybe just being healthy helps him, and we'll see what they do. I think Ishbia and James Jones are going to talk to the media tomorrow. I think they're scheduled for Wednesday. And it was really only Beal and there was someone else. Was it Grayson Allen that spoke to the media yesterday? But not your KDs and not your Bookers. In other news, let's go overseas here. NBA.com says the Pacers to face the Spurs in Paris for 2 regular season games in January 2025. Tasmelis, is this news?
Oh, you better believe it. It is great news for French basketball fans to see that guy, Mr. Wembanyama, come out to his country now. Is it good news because the Pacers are there? I don't know. I guess it's a far better game than they had this year with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Brooklyn Nets there.
Right.
They played in Paris. Not as good as having Victor Wembanyama come to town
against a good Pacers team.
And two games as well. This year was just the one game. As for the Pacers, I bring them up because there's no French players. Andrew Nembhard is Canadian. Maybe he can speak a little French. Maybe they'll ask him some French questions.
Mathurin?
Ben Mathurin.
You forgot about Benedict Mathurin.
Forgot about
He probably
it.
speaks
Also Canadian.
French a little bit, right? Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good call. I forgot about that. Because he's not friggin' playing right now,
he's out,
which is really weird.
He'll be back for this.
But a good sign. A good. What are they going to do other than the regular season games? They always have these random events.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what they're going to be.
Well, Wemby's going to be a busy man that week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
A lot of interviews and whatever, activations, whatever he's doing. But this is good that we're sending the Pacers and Spurs late January. I guess this is bad for Indiana Pacers fans that live in their home state. You don't get to see Wemby.
They shouldn't do this with an Eastern Conference team. It should be the same conference.
Right. So you at least have the one option to see the Wembanyama play in your own barn. Yeah, that's fair.
What about all those Spurs fans that want to see Tyrese Halliburton?
They don't get to see him either.
I think it's worse for Pacers fans personally, but
Yeah,
I wonder
then
if the NBA is going to
You can just make it one game. Sorry, you make it one game, and you pick whose home game it is, right? Like that's what they did this year.
They could, yeah.
Yeah, so you could have, but the 2 games, just takes it away, takes it off the schedule.
Yeah, takes it completely off the schedule. But let's see, 2020 they played in Paris, 2023 they played in Paris, 2024 they played in Paris, and then next year. Do you think Wemby's going to play 1 to 2 games in Paris for the entirety of his career?
Interesting.
Like, going to just keep going back? Like, why would you change it?
Yeah, that's fair. They want the international crowds to be
of course.
into it and to expand in the continent as well, which would happen as well.
Yeah.
Like, the more people will be watching via their apps that we'll get to. Or
I just
whatever.
wonder if the organization, the San Antonio Spurs, like at some point are like, okay, that's enough. It's there's a lot of logistics here, and you'll see how it goes. Maybe they don't play well over there because again he's pulled in every direction or whatever, the travel and all that. Like, we'll see. Maybe they kick ass and they're like, yeah, we'll go back. We love it over there.
Yeah.
We win every time when we play there. But
it's true that the pulling in direction stinks for these guys at times. They get tired. It happened to Wemby this year. And Wemby wasn't even an all-star this year. So next year, when he will be an all-star, he's going to be pulled everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't the next number 1 pick of the upcoming draft, isn't he a French guy too? He'll get a chance. Yeah, or he's going to be top 3 or whatever.
He's up there. He's up there.
Something like that. So we have no shortage of French guys to send over there. All right, so Paris Games 2025, late January. Next headline, final headline. From the Wall Street Journal, though I could have picked from The Athletic, could have picked from Awful Announcing. There was a lot on this yesterday, but I'll go with the Wall Street Journal. NBC prepares $2.5 billion a year bid to pluck the NBA rights from TNT. Yoink! Give me that. Trey Kirby, is this news?
Pluck watch. I mean, this is big time news. If TNT loses the NBA, that's huge news.
Yeah.
Hard to imagine an NBA without TNT, though we have seen it because we're old.
Yeah.
And it's a real catch-22 for us. Which do you like more, round ball rock or inside the NBA?
Both great. Wow.
I like inside the NBA more.
I think so, too.
Yeah, you can listen to round ball rock anytime you want to.
Yeah, it's in a commercial right now with Kevin Hart.
Though it is a great song.
It is.
But you can see why the NBA would be especially interested in NBC because they're a broadcast network. That is huge for visibility. That's something we don't really talk about when it comes to NBA ratings in the 90s compared to today. You could watch the NBA very easily in the 90s when we had 11 channels. I don't know, we probably had like 40 channels back then. But it was a big deal, and they were on every Sunday. And I mean, it's still the case. They switched to ABC eventually, but from a visibility standpoint, it's easy to watch NBC. It's not always easy to watch TNT.
Sure.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's even more of a factor because we know Amazon highly likely will have NBA rights.
Yep, they'll have the streaming rights for sure.
They do not have a broadcast channel.
Right.
And so maybe that plays into not having TNT, which would be surprising because it's definitely going to ESPN is back, who also has ABC.
Yep.
Amazon likely to be the other one.
Yep.
On Thursday nights when Amazon has games on the NFL as well. So you see somebody that sees, as an NFL fan, and sees a dud of a football game. There's a basketball game on. So I'm sure that helps. This is interesting because do you want to be watching NBC the channel or Peacock? And do you like the Peacock better than the TNT app? Because that's become a good experience. And they have strong sports lineups. Reading these articles remind me, NHL is here. March Madness and NASCAR. And so
you're saying TNT has all this already.
Excuse me. Yes, they have those already. So it's a battle. And this might just be a money play.
Oh, yeah. I believe that TNT has the right to match this, too. whatever this offer is, if it's real. I mean, this is a huge increase. Like, duh, we knew that was going to happen. Like, this is like double of what TNT pays now per year. It's like $1.2 billion, I think they pay now. So if this is real, this 2.5, again, TNT can decide if they want to match up. The other part is, it's possible that the NBA goes with 4 carriers here, right? We all believe Amazon will be the streaming. Okay, there's that. We know ESPN is going to keep this along with ABC and probably the finals as well as on ABC. And then are they just going to go 3-track and pick between NBC and TNT and have them bid against each other? Or does the NBA even want both of them? And where it's one night is NBC and one night still Tuesday nights or Thursday nights, whatever it is still Turner. There's that as a possibility too. Now, I think a question to me is like, can you get too many of these where that pisses off the fan base, where you're like, oh my God, it's like tough to follow? Do you think that's not really a worry anymore in 2024?
No, I actually think that is a worry because you got to have a lot of subscriptions to watch this. And it's also not easy to flip between games. Like, that's a pain these days. If you're watching, like for instance, last night, we're watching the national games on TNT, but there's a game on NBA TV. It takes forever to switch from, I watch on the Max app.
Right.
I'm like such a weirdo. I'm watching NBA games on Max right now, but then you got to back out. You got to open the NBA app. You got to click into the game. You got to click into the stream. It takes forever for it to load then. So it is much more of a hassle than like, all right, channel 6, we got the national game. Channel 8, we got the local game. That's a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why 3 makes a little bit more logical sense because there aren't as many days to split up. And that may be why it ends up being 3 because ESPN would be giving up a day. Think about the days here. Like if it is 4, TNT will get Tuesday, I imagine.
They have it now.
Like they used to. Wednesday will go to ESPN, I suppose.
They have it now.
Thursday is Amazon. Yeah, and in these articles, these publications of reported deals, that's what it is. It goes Tuesday TNT, Wednesday ESPN, Thursday Amazon, and then the Friday it goes to a 4th channel. I mean, it's now the regional networks get them. I don't know. I don't know if you want to have more. And this may just be to push up the money deal with TNT, and that could very well be a possibility. But
there's many possibilities because even Amazon could get in on this, right? Well, we think they are. That doesn't mean like TNT doesn't come up with a deal to do the production for Amazon. That's a possibility where like they could be the inside guys they could be producing it and they could be on Amazon. Like they're obviously having these negotiations. I'm not saying they want that. I have no idea if that's true, but like that's stuff that happens, right?
Yeah. And as you said about the apps internationally, I wonder how it all ends up working out. Like there are a lot of countries that probably don't use Amazon Prime as much as we do, and they have Amazon Web Services that makes it all happen on that end. So they're good on that end, and that's why I guess they're going with that side. But I know that Warner Brothers / TNT can match deals, but I think NBC, according to The Athletic, could try to structure an agreement in a way that makes it very difficult to match it. With all their, I don't know what these all mean, what it really means, but I don't know. It ain't over. Sounds
like Daryl Morey signing Omer Ashik to a poison pill contract.
Yeah,
it's a poison pill.
I didn't know the NBA was a restricted free agent to Warner Brothers. They got match rights. They got early bird rights.
It's crazy.
How far over the cap can they go? They did sign all those inside the NBA guys to like gigantic contracts.
Yeah, long term.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the match window here was over. Reading the article originally, I thought it was 45 days. I thought it was done. I thought Mike Forkinoff wrote about it at the beginning of the season. It got me juiced up. Oh yes, broadcast rights, can't wait to talk about it. I thought 45 days was done, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know.
I think they're sort of two different things. They have the ability to match whatever like NBC were to offer in this case, but the first part was the matching of the contract that they had or whatever,
or just an exclusive negotiation.
Yeah, I think so. Be very weird if there's no Inside the NBA.
Yeah,
be very, very strange if TNT Sports does not have NBA games at all. Because of NBC, flexing their muscle and money, and we're like, no, we'll take it. Just be odd.
You'll never see guys race to the board again. It'd be so sad for you.
Jesus.
Kenny, you see Kenny last night? Slipped on the steps.
He did. Dangerous. You guys hope he signed a waiver.
They're actually getting some great stuff on the board race, man. They can't give it up.
They got to keep it
going. At this point, I wonder if it would ever be like a Joe Buck, Troy Aikman thing, where like they're calling games for one network and then. Actually, those are the guys. We're taking them for ESPN.
Yeah, right.
They call Monday Night Football. I wouldn't be surprised.
definitely possible. So we'll see. Okay, let's, before we go, get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
Anybody want to see a weird hat? Say yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on, Jalen Williams? This is our tweet of the night. It comes to us from the NBA. Jalen Williams arriving in a pair of trash bag pants and a hat that I can't even find the words to describe. I was trying to look this thing up. I tried like inflatable padded hat, Adidas padded trapper hat.
You couldn't even find it.
I couldn't even find it. I've tried every combination of trapper hat, padded hat, inflatable hat that I could possibly think of. I was writing down what Jalen Williams has worn to games here. Bejeweled ski mask, padded trapper hat. And after I wrote the second one, I was like, these sound like AI hat creations. Just throw together some words and we'll see what hat comes out. So I don't know. What's this guy going to wear next? A TV on his head?
You know what?
Pumpkin like Tass had for a pick and payoff once upon a time.
That you're calling that a hat? I mean, I guess it is almost like a helmet. What he's wearing,
it looks like a football helmet for sure. I've had an inflatable helmet.
Right.
It kind of looks like that.
It does look a little like that.
I was going to say, remember on No Bus, on our Survivor podcast, we were talking about, hey, someone should get smart and wear or create like a pillow hat to take out to the island. Because then you could sleep easily on your hat. And then we saw suddenly like a usher was wearing something that looked like a giant pillow hat, but this would work too.
Totally.
This is even better because it's got the eye shade, I guess is whatever.
Keep the bugs away from you.
What a look.
Yeah.
Super Shredder.
Super Shredder. People were saying sort of Harkonnen vibes from Dune.
I saw Darth helmet.
Yeah.
Going around.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it totally looks AI-ish, but then you see Adidas on the back.
I know.
And I guess they made it.
I didn't see that. He didn't show up. Did they even have the podium game? Was he there?
I didn't see pictures
he didn't wear
going
that.
around.
Yeah.
You think he was like wearing that on the bus? They had like straps on it.
I
Like
don't
you could
know,
carry it as a backpack or something.
Oh yeah,
That's
they are
crazy,
on the
man.
road too. Strange stuff.
Imagine he comes down in the hotel wearing that, and they're like, "What?" They'll just start barking. You're gonna wear that?
It'd be impossible not to hit his head, smack the head, right? It's like anytime you see somebody wearing a helmet, you want to slap him on the head.
Yeah,
it's just fun. And this one's like not even gonna hurt. Not even gonna hurt anybody.
I'm just thinking of. I could have came in today with my helmet, I think.
You have something like that?
I did. I had a Buffalo Bills one. But I think in my move, I think it's one of those things that Danielle's, my wife's like, come on.
Why do
we gotta lower the content, which is true. I don't need that helmet. But it was a fun helmet.
Right.
That's what people use, I guess, Bills fans that throw each other in the table. They wear helmets.
Right. Well, didn't we just learn the NFL is going to allow players to wear what do you call them? Like just the padded sort of covers on top of their helmets.
Concussion helmets.
Yeah,
they're for concussion.
Similar to that.
Not too different.
Okay, but we saw him the other night. Yeah, where where it was just like a little peephole of his face. The oh my god, they killed Kenny look that he had. You called it the bejeweled ski mask. Yeah. Then he wears this. I mean, what's the next level for game one in the next series? Where does he go next?
Dunce cap? I don't know, man. Dunce caps were hilarious in the Bugs Bunny days. You don't see them as much anymore. That'd be a good pick and payoff. You have to sit in the corner the whole time wearing a dunce cap.
Just face backwards. Yeah. Actually, it is a good pick and payoff. Especially we got the corner right there. It's perfect. What a look. What a look. These kids, man, they'll wear anything. These kids are crazy, man. Crazy. All right, let's call it there. 3 games on tonight. Sixers, Knicks, New York trying to close out this series in 5. Madison Square Garden, I assume, is going to be rocking for that one. We also have Game 5, pivotal Game 5 between the Magic and Cavs. Have the Magic figured something out when they were at home? It worked, looked great. Didn't look good when they were in Cleveland for Games 1 and 2. We'll see what happens there. And then we also have Pacers-Bucks. Now, it sounds like the Bucks are not expecting Dame or Giannis in Game 5. A very... once again, disappointing season here for the Milwaukee Bucks. Disappointing ending. If they do go down here tonight in Milwaukee. That's it for me this week. I'm heading home to Toronto. My grandmother unfortunately passed, so I am going to be gone for the rest of the week, but you guys will be holding it down. I'll be tuning in to hear your thoughts on all these games and everything else that happens this week.
Yeah, we'll miss you.
Yeah, I can. Well, I mean, I'll make sure to try and get my predictions in when you guys start talking about the second round series, because I know you just need to hear what I think.
I mean, a huge news here, Skeets.
Yeah.
Jerome dropped the link to the hat. It's by Dingyun Zhang a former Adidas and Yeezy designer. It's called the helmet crossbody bag because it does turn into a bag, but also a helmet.
Of course.
The stuff you were carrying in your bag, where does it go? I don't know.
Yeah.
How much do you think it costs?
$550.
Not bad, $610. Sold out though. Sorry.
Of course.
Yeah, probably went crazy last night.
Oh yeah.
I gotta find this thing.
There's probably like 3 made.
Wipe with a soft cloth. I love this. That's how you clean it.
Don't wipe with a pin. It'll pop the damn thing. All right, that's it for us. Until we see you guys, or these guys see you tomorrow, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, Jalen Williams' helmet was made by Ding Young Jang, or was it? I'm not convinced. If you want us to convince us, Ding Young Jang, send us in one, please,
yes.
so we can wear them, because it's not as much of a grid like you see on a football helmet. This one in particular than Jalen Williams. That looked like a grid. Can't see out of this one. Looks hot.
It looks very hot.
Yes, it
Looks
does.
sticky. Yeah, you couldn't wear that in Atlanta, that's for sure. Race the day, people.